And then what is the job of a president? Well, yeah, what's your job? You know, what do you? I don't know how many people live in America. Let's take a random number, say 250 million. Okay, and I don't know how many people live there, but you become president. You're not responsible for 250 million people. You know, one wrong economic decision and millions could lose their jobs and have have things being out of control. You're responsible for schools and education and roads, and you're responsible for the military and the country's defense and infrastructure and hospitals, and that's way too much responsibility for one person. And you definitely can't have a single system that is going to be great for everybody when you have so many people. The more people you have, the bigger the country, the more diversity you're going to have. So first of all, I don't think that any one person can do the job. Second of all, the president's job is not to make decisions. The, the president's job is not to make decisions. The president's job is to employ the best people possible to make decisions, but not themselves to make decisions. You see, we have media. Media is pushing this idea that the president is responsible for this. The president can decide about that. The president changed blah 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 whatever today. That's not the job of the president. The job, yeah, the job of the president. The job of the president is to take a step back. The job of the president is not to stand in front of people with a microphone and answer questions about something happening somewhere else. It's not the president's job. The, the, the president's job is a quiet position. It's a backroom position. It's in fact, you know, because because the position of president is such a uh, publicized position, you can't really do much work because you have to spend so much time being the people person, visiting schools and shaking hands with people and saying, "Well done, guys, that's great." And do you have any time to have any idea what's going on in the country? I imagine probably not. Um, as much as I don't like Barack Obama, you have to respect certain things because not everything about everybody is bad. You know, we like to say he's bad, he's terrible, but you know he's not. He's obviously very intelligent, and he obviously understands that he needs to take a step back and let other people decide to do things, and he doesn't need to be at the front all the time. And although he is a kind of it's about personality, right? It's like president is like a giant pop star. It's like pop star politics, right? There's not much difference between Slovakia is looking for talent and 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 America is looking for a president. um, it's all theater and lights and opinions and questions and answers and and no one really knows. So it's really, really hard. I suggest that if a person spends about an hour a day for 10 years studying history, after 10 years, they probably begin to start to understand some of the positives and negative things. But it's such a big topic. It's not just who's going to be president. It's economics. It's uh, international trade and development. Uh, It's and the president's not supposed to make big decisions. The president's not supposed to get a piece of paper and sign it and make a law because that's what a dictator does, right? That's a dictator. It's not. It's a dictator. Yeah, that's what you've got Congress for, all those people to debate about it. That's what you've got the legal branch of government and justices and things for, so they can sit down and discuss, is this good for society or not? The president is basically there to be some kind of referee. To say to people, look, stop fighting with each other and find a way to problem solve. You don't problem solve by sending your armies into foreign countries and dropping bombs. I mean, that's a kind of madness. Um, so I I had a big rant with a student yesterday about the Trump Hillary, and I listed for about 25 minutes all the reasons not to vote for Hillary, and in about 30 seconds all the reasons to vote for Trump. there, there are lots of reasons. It's crazy. Try to understand this. There are lots of reasons to not vote for Hillary. And on the other side, there are very few reasons to vote for Trump. You see, neither one is good because they're both bad choices. It's called Machiavellian principles. Look, where is it? The Prince. Yeah, the Prince, Niccolo Machiavelli. He wrote this book in 1513 for um, the Medici family in Italy. And the Medici family were the money lenders of Europe. They were the power behind Rome. They married into the Fugger family from Bistrica. Yeah. You look at the history of the Fugger family. I'm not even sure how I know this. I did some research because I was interested because um, Bistrica was a mining town. The gold and other things, right? Bistrica, Kremnica, Banska Ściavnica. And these were rich mines. And these were rich mines for the whole of Europe, not just for this area. I mean, this was a wealthy area. It's one of the most wealthy areas in Europe about 250 years ago. And so the family that was in charge of everything here were the Fuggers. So the Fuggers were in charge of the mining of everything that was used for money and currency throughout Europe. And the Medicis were the leading money lenders. So the families integrated through marriage. And I think if you look at, I think I did the Wikipedia Fugger family search, and there was like married into the Medici family. Stop. Yeah. Yeah, Fuggero's Dwar in the center. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were the, I don't know, the Donald Trumps or the Rockefellers of the day, right? And they were the big, powerful families of the day, and powerful families married other powerful families, and that's how they kept control. And so that's the connection to be street side. Anyway, anybody, the king had all the money, and any artist who who wanted to live and to eat had to produce art that made the king look good. It's logical, right? It's logical. If you were a soldier, you fought for the king. If you were an artist, you painted for the king or you wrote for the king. Everything was for the king because the king had all the money. He was the dictator of the time. And although art was important and having good soldiers were important, they weren't quite as important as having a very good reason why everybody should do what you tell them to do. And that had been a problem for kings down throughout history until Machiavelli put or wrote down what became later known as the Machiavellian principle, which is the prince is the prince because no one else can be the prince. This means that the prince is the prince because the alternative is worse. But the prince was never good, but the alternative was always worse. And so the Machiavellian principle was always focus on what is worse than you, and you will always look good. And so this argument because people was, why do we have kings? Why do we have princes? Why do we have these people who rule over us and take our money and force us to fight for them? And why do we have this? And there was never really a good argument until Machiavelli put his argument into this book, which he wrote for the kings and princes of the time, which was that the king is the king because the alternative is worse. There is another army somewhere with another leader who could come here and take over, but that would be worse. And the king provides organization and stability, and he loves his loyal subjects. Oh, yeah, that's bullshit, right? And of course, the book became very popular. The writing became very popular because it was promoted by the rulers of the time as the intellectual way to look at the problem. Which is just, to make anything look good, you take something else which is worse and put it next to it, and you say, and you give people a choice, right? Hey, I'm giving you a choice between this rotten apple and this rotten banana. Oh, wow, thank you very much, right? No, but don't you understand? I'm giving you a choice. Isn't it wonderful to have a choice? Isn't it great to just look, you can make a decision for yourself. You can decide the future. It's in your hands. But I don't know. Shut up. Vote or we cut off your hands. But that's not a choice. Shut up. So it's like and in places like Australia, it's the law is you have to vote. You have to vote. Which is that we have to encourage people to be involved in democracy. Oh, so you yeah, you have to vote. Where's my democracy, right? Doesn't that mean I should have a choice? Doesn't that mean I can say no? And the simple test is, can I say no? How do you know if something is good or not? The simple test is, can I say no? If I can say no, and everything is okay and nothing changes for me, that's good. But if I say no and there's some negative result for me, then you know that it's not a real choice. Because the real choice means that there's no negative consequences for for you personally, that you can walk away from the situation and 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 do whatever it is you want to do without any negative repercussions or negative results for you. So that's the ultimate test in every situation. Yeah, it's like the teacher says to the students, right, there's a test tomorrow, and I don't want to do that. You have to do the test. Oh, okay. It's like it's yes, school is the most authoritarian system ever created in human history. It's a giant example of dictatorship. Very similar to experiences in prison. But the teachers are very, very highly trained to present it in a soft way, right? Well, just I've got this and that, and how are you today? And is that right? No, it's very interesting. Yeah. And they make it, they they try to make it as nice as possible so you can't complain about it. But you still have to go. You still have to go back there the next day. And nobody will talk about it. Nobody will ever admit that it's true, because if they admit that it's true, then they can't do their job. Because then you come to the realization that being a very, very often, not in all cases, very often, being a teacher in a school is not any different from being a guard in a prisoner camp during the Second World War. Because the prisoners didn't have any choice either, right? The prisoners had the same problem of they would get food and that was it, right? and there was no other alternative that the or they that or nothing, or death. And work makes you free, which is not much different from having some saying like, "Oh, school makes you free," right? But luckily, young people are so creative and intelligent. They can do things like, right, if I train really hard and join the basketball team, I don't have to go to half of these classes. Right. Okay. Well, I guess if I have to do that, I'll do that, I suppose. Yeah. So it's soft. School is a perfect example of a soft socialist fascist system, or as I call it, creeping death. Which I think was a Metallica song. And I'm not saying it's all negative, but it's just to the images I use are just to emphasize the fact that there's no choice, right? That people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about the fact that if you live in Germany and you say to the government, we would like to teach our children ourselves at home, the government will take you and put you in prison. This is our free Western society, right? This is a free Western. The government will actually take the parents and put the parents in prison if the parents say we'd like to educate our children ourselves.
And where?
In Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not legal to educate your children yourself. It's not legal. It's against the law. So if you decide you want to educate your own children by yourself, the first thing the government will do is they'll take your children away from you. The second thing they'll do is they'll ask you to pay money, and if you don't pay the money, you go to prison. This and so they take your money in tax payments from you to put you to then take you and put you in prison. Oh, it's insane. We live in a we.
If you get some private teacher.
Oh yeah, you can have a private teacher, but you can't stop the state program. So that so the yes, the best thing to do is to get private teachers if you have enough money for it.